This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Biggest question people have is, how do I start the process? What is the process? I want to build a new home, but I don't know what the first step is.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
The first step is make an appointment. Come on into my office. Let's sit around the table. Let's talk about what you're looking for, what your needs are, what your budget might be. And let's come up with some answers on what we're going to build, where we're going to build it, and what it's going to cost. And get a house that you're going to be happy with. So now is really the time to be contacting us to get an appointment to get the job done. Once you find a good lot, let's get it reserved because there's a very limited number of lots in this town. And then start designing that floor plan that's going to be perfect for you. Next thing you know, we're moving dirt.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Dana Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Dana Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at GainaTrucking.com. Bagels & Joe is the best place to start off your mornings this spring, and you can order your breakfast ahead of time on their app. March's cream cheese flavor is Green Goddess. Pair it with a leprechaun latte. Stop by any of their 4 locations in Lincoln and their location in Seward. Bagels & Joe.
Back Nine Golf in South Lincoln is the premier indoor golf experience in the state. The weather in the winter months is cold, windy, and as unpredictable as a tee shot on the 450-yard par 4. With top-of-the-line full-swing simulators and a PGA teaching professional, Back Nine Golf is there to help you improve your game and lower your score. Back Nine Golf is open to the public with 24/7 access for members. Learn about Back Nine's variety of memberships today and see the facility for yourself at 7501 South 15th Street in Lincoln, just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Back Nine Golf, your premier indoor golf and events destination.
Good morning, Breakers. This is Scott Miller from Midwest Bank. When I recently joined Midwest Bank, I was immediately impressed by our exceptional service. My first customer made the switch from a large corporate bank and didn't have to wait in line or call a 1-800 number. We treated him like family. He now visits the bank just to say hello. While other banks go corporate, we stay Nebraska. Visit us at midwest.bank or drop by a branch today. Your community, your bank. Midwest Bank. Member FDIC.
Husker fans, baseball is back in Lincoln, and it's time to get your tickets to Nebraska baseball. Catch great matchups all season long as the Huskers take on some of the top teams in the Big Ten, including Indiana, USC, and Iowa. Plus, don't miss midweek action against in-state rival Creighton and regional matchups with Kansas and Kansas State. Bring the whole family. General admission tickets start at just $10 or grab reserved seats for $15. Don't miss your chance to be part of the action this season. Get your tickets today by visiting huskers.com/tickets or by calling 1-800-8-BIG-RED.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
The best barbecue deal in town is at Hog Wild. We're serving up a $5.99 meal deal that includes a one-meat sandwich, your favorite classic side and a drink, all for just $5.99. Craving brisket? Upgrade to our tender, slow-smoked beef brisket for only $1.50 more. Join us for lunch or dinner or order online at GoHogWild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway, Lincoln.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Mike, the insurance company wants us to replace the roof.
Wait, what? I thought everything was fine.
Yeah, it says right here our roof is too old and they won't be able to cover us anymore.
I guess it is 15 years old. Hi, I'm Austin with Roofing Service Company. We help homeowners with their roofing and siding projects. Financing options are available, and we can get you under a new roof no time at all. If this sounds like you, visit roofingservicecompany.com. That is roofingservicecompany.com.
In a world where Wi-Fi battles rage and bandwidth is never enough, one family dares to connect it all. Work from home, influence all day, stream all night, and game to win. Deadlines, downloads, and dance-offs, all happening under one roof, flawlessly. Can your internet provider do that? Fiber fuel your household at allofiber.com/all-in.
Water heater gone? Call Bryant. The price you're quoted is the price you'll pay. And in most cases, same-day replacement. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111.
Welcome to The Drive with Aaron Davis and Nick Sainert. Former football national champion, speaker, and author Aaron Davis.
Pain is a teacher if you use it. And the lessons in the carnage of pain sometimes are elusive. They hide, they're stealth. The work is finding the lessons through the pain. There's always a message in the mess. Depends on if we want to get dirty and look for it.
Nick Sainert.
Driving left side is Boyer, picks up his dribble, looking for some help, decides to go up strong with it, and the layup will rattle home. Jack Riley picks the pocket of B.J. Bradford up the floor to Jack Ostrider. Watch out! Lafisi in the lane, kicks it out. 3-ball, Townsley, right wing, it's good!
It's on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome in. It is a Monday. Welcome in. It's The Drive, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick Sainert, no Aaron Davis today. He is a traveling man this week as AD will be exploring the world, the United States, as it's an exciting one. NCAA tournament time. It's about to be here. The first 4 games obviously will start tomorrow night, and some matchups there that are quite intriguing. But first, welcome in Austin Orman, Nick Sainert with you as always. 402-464-5685. The Honda Lincoln Hotline, the Starter Heyman text line open for you guys the entire show. As you can probably suggest and guess, pretty basketball heavy conversations today regarding Nebraska, their first round matchup with the Troy Trojans on Thursday. It is Thursday at 11:40 a.m. You thought Nebraska got the perfect time slot known to mankind just after the 3 o'clock hour, but nope. Nebraska can have some nice things, but not all nice things. And so with that being said, Austin, good morning, my friend. Hello.
Nick, hello. Feel like we spent most of last week together down in Pinnacle Bank Arena, but
right.
Happy to be here back in something of a regular rhythm and a routine, right? There's nothing that tops high school state basketball. And that's 2 fantastic weeks being down there at PBA. But if there's anything that's going to top it, it's going from the high of high school state basketball right into March Madness with all sorts of conversations.
Yeah, it's I will say this just right off the bat. Major thank you to everybody who was involved in state basketball. You, Tristan, myself, Jay, all the producers and board ops back here at the station, Bach, Harrison, Rudy for that first week as well. Major props and thank you to you guys for all your help. And then thank you to listeners, because we understand we're asking a lot. We understand that, hey, we're going to park ourselves at Pinnacle Bank Arena, and as our routine is disrupted, your guys' listening routine is quite a bit disrupted as well throughout those 2 weeks at PBA. And so I appreciate you guys kind of hanging on and being engaging the way you were, because I'll be honest, this was I say it year after year, and we continue to grow and things like that. But this was the most engagement I've seen, whether it's through the text line, whether it's through messages that we got on various platforms, or looking at listener numbers as well. Some of the best reaction and engagement we've had in our entire time of doing them. 48 games at PBA over the course of 2 weeks. It's certainly not easy. It takes a whole village, as they say. And I'm super, super proud of what we were able to put together. And a major thank you, like I said, to Jay and Austin and Tristan. And Tristan stepped up big time for his first time taking kind of the night games and stuff. And this is the first year where it feels like on the following Monday, I don't have laryngitis. So we're celebrating that here today. It's a big week, massive week ahead for just Nebraska athletics. And we don't want to forget about the Nebraska women's team. They're going to be playing in the first 4 games as well against Richmond. If they're able to win that one, they will play in Durham, North Carolina against 6-seeded Baylor. But really the talk of this show is going to be Nebraska men's basketball, because Austin, they have a chance to do something obviously that has never been done. But I want to dive a lot deeper in this show and talk about how we feel about the matchup with Troy. And then also, it's no longer a hypothetical conversation. We know what Nebraska's path to a Sweet 16 berth potentially looks like. We know one of 2 options. Now, through all of that, they have to take care of their business against Troy.
But I'll ask you this question just right off the rip. Initial thoughts on Nebraska's matchup.
My initial thought was, who cares? You got to go win it. It wasn't going to be easy, right? All 68 teams that are in the field have the chance to win a game. And I mean that now in a more literal sense than ever, since we've seen 2 16s over one. Even as the top of the sport, the top teams, your top 4 1 seeds, even maybe the top 5 or 6 teams in the country, as they continue to expand the gap between them and the middle class. And as the middle class gap expands between them and the bottom level of the sport, I don't know if it should matter for Nebraska, right? Because we had this same conversation the last time Nebraska was in the tournament against Texas A&M.
Yeah.
I think so much of the same conversation can be had here. Troy will have its advantages. Yes, they're a pretty darn good rebounding team. Should we
clear this up right now?
Just,
are they big or are they not big?
They're big enough. They're aggressive enough, right? Are they huge? No, but their top 3 top 3 guys in terms of percentage of possessions used are 6'7", 6'9", 6'8". Another guy at 6'9" in the rotation as well.
Yeah.
They're big enough. But again, who cares? Who cares about Troy? And I mean this in a very respectful way. Shouts to them winning the Sun Belt Conference. Scott Cross is a hell of a basketball coach.
Yeah.
His previous school in Texas, I think it was UT Arlington, let him go for really no good reason. And he pretty much immediately turned Troy around. It was always going to be a challenge for Nebraska. But the biggest challenge for Nebraska is taking care of its own business. Because, yes, Troy can have some spots that it can pick at against Nebraska. But guess what? If Nebraska plays like the Nebraska we've seen, Nebraska will be fine. Maybe it looks like one of those early season games where it's a little more touch and go than Husker fans would like. Maybe you're on the edge of your seat a little bit more than you'd like. But guys, Nebraska's in the dance. They're a 4 seed. They're favored to win by almost 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Nebraska should be fine if they play like Nebraska, and I'm pretty confident that they'll be able to do that.
We're gonna dive into this in a little bit. Actually, Chris Fallica of ESPN posted some statistics, and if you know, he's off of College Game Day, right? But what is a big thing? Well, now he's with Fox, isn't he?
Yes.
So he's with Fox now. So my mistake there. He tweeted out something yesterday, and he said there is a historically massive gap this year between the 2, 3, 4, and 5 seeds and their 15, 14, 13, and 12 seed opponents. He then goes off on a Twitter thread talking about how much of a gap spread-wise and prediction-wise there is between, well, guess what? Nebraska's in that conversation now. And so I think that's really interesting that you pointed that out, but I want to get to that here in the next couple of minutes. Or in the next couple of segments. As always, we want you guys to feel like you're a part of the conversation here. 402-464-5685. We will get to every single one of your texts, whether it's about Nebraska basketball, whether it's against Nebraska, or whether it's about Nebraska women's basketball. We already got one question about Amy Williams' squad in on the text line that we'll get to in a moment, as well as if we have baseball conversations. USA going to the World Baseball Classic final after knocking off the Dominican Republic. Some questionable strike 3 calls in the last inning on Juan Soto and on one of his teammates to end the game as he got called down on strikes looking. So much to get into. 464-5685. You can always reach out on the Starter Heyman Jewelers live video stream as well. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Allo Cable Channel 961. Or on our personal Twitters, Nick_Sainert at Austin_Orman. So, with all that being said, Austin, the biggest thing that I kind of talked with Bach yesterday on our selection show coverage was we have to treat this as take away the names and view Nebraska as just a 4 seed, just a generic 4 seed against a 13 seed. And I am well aware that upsets happen, and that's what creates the madness of March, if you will. But there's also something to be said, and I think it's something accurate, and it's important for us that live in this Nebraska bubble to look at it on both sides. On one hand, yeah, you know what? There's going to be a lot of nerves, and there's going to be a lot of anxiousness with Nebraska fans on Thursday because this is the best chance this program has felt like it's had in the last 20 years to get this monkey off their back of winning an NCAA tournament game. Sure, like all the nerves, in my opinion, will be on people watching, not on the people playing, if that makes sense.
On the other hand, guess what? Even if Troy on paper has a 6'9" dude and a couple of 6'8" guys, and number one, they're not as big as Nebraska. And number two, even if the matchup on paper isn't great, we have to understand that Nebraska as a 4 seed against a 13 seed is just more talented. Even if it says, oh man, Troy, they rebound well in the Sun Belt Conference, but that's a matchup that Nebraska struggled against. The most, I will say this ad nauseum this week, Trey Kaufman-Renn and Oscar Clough are not lining up for Troy. They're just not. And so we have to understand the differences between the competition Nebraska has seen in the Big Ten consistently and who they just saw last week against Purdue and what they're going to see this Thursday. Both teams talented. Both teams deserve to be in the dance. Both teams could potentially present a challenge to Nebraska. But at the end of the day, Nebraska on paper, despite the matchup, despite the statistics, is the more talented team. And I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yeah, very clearly. And it's not just a decision and a conclusion that we can draw because Nebraska played in a better conference.
Yeah.
That's not even what it is. It's not, you're just saying that because they're the Big Ten team. No, Nebraska was clearly better all year. Now, Troy did go on the road and win at USC like Nebraska did. Heck of a game. I remember watching that one. Or maybe USC won it late.
USC won it by one.
By one, yeah. And Troy had a couple that forced it to triple overtime. I remember
that's right.
Watching that game. But no, Nebraska is in a really incredible position. Even the strengths for Troy, right? If you want to talk about their offensive rebound rate, 35%, that's not even top 50 in the country. That's 83rd-ish percentile. You look at, they allow teams to shoot only 31.3% from three. Well, guess what? Nebraska's three-point defense is better than that. Okay. Troy will take 45.6% of its own shots from three, but they only shoot 33% from three, right? As a team, right? Sure, they have guys that can get it going from range as well. But I think, Nick, when you look at these upsets, right? A 1 over a 16, something crazy has to happen. Same with probably a 2 over a 15. But when you get into the 3-14s, the 4-13s, even the 5-12s, to me, so much of it does come down to what are the definable strengths? Who did the committee matchup where? It's why I was on Upset Alert last year for High Point over Purdue, because what did Purdue really struggle with? Defending the interior. What did High Point do at will all season long? Get to the paint. And High Point really pushed Purdue, right? You can go on and on down the list of examples like that. Even Troy's relative strength is not as much of a strength as it's been for some other teams that Nebraska's played. You would think that Troy would have potentially dominated the Sun Belt Conference in some of these areas, but their offensive rebound percentage barely went up in conference play compared to non-con. Their free throw rate actually went down. They're good in a couple areas, but there's not this bright highlighter green or this bright highlighter red that pops out. And so I think much of the concern that I've heard is probably overblown from Husker fans based on what they've seen the last couple months, which is not to say there's not a cut, right? There's a scab, right? Nebraska still has to heal and has to find ways to, put the bandage over the wound to not let Troy pick at it. But this is a team that doesn't really have definable strength. They're just kind of generic when you look at their statistical profile.
And that's not to diminish what Troy's done this year either, right? I just think that we all know what Nebraska fans do. We all, as we live in this bubble, and Austin, I mean, it is our life. I mean, for 4 months out of the year to assess and to analyze and to discuss this Nebraska basketball team, and at the 6 months out of the year. But it's at the end of the day, this is a different matchup than what Nebraska Texas A&M was a couple of years ago, right? Like, despite Nebraska in that game being the higher seed, right? They were the 8 seed and Texas A&M was the 9. If you truly wanted to look at it with unbiased glasses, then you could look at that and say it's a tough matchup because it's another power conference team that's much more athletic than Nebraska. What is one of Nebraska's weaknesses is handling athletic teams. That's true. Both of these things can be true.
But that A&M team, just for reference, was literally the number 1 team in the country at offensive rebounding.
There you go.
The number 1 team, according to Ken Pomeroy's numbers. They were a top 40 team in getting to the free throw line, a top 20 team in offensive turnover percentage. They took really good care of the ball. Now, they were 357th in offensive block percentage. They shot it really poorly at 29.3%. Texas A&M was probably a more extreme case of this game. But again, number one team in the country in offensive rebounding percentage. Troy is 55th for the year, which is still, good.
Yeah.
It's a strength, but it's not, ripped beyond belief strength. It's just, oh, look, that guy's bench pressing, 175, not bench pressing 330.
Yeah. I think, as always, 402-464-5685, Honda of Lincoln hotline, the starter Heyman text line. I think part of this conversation is just calming the waters a little bit, because there was Nebraska could have been matched up with any of the 13 seeds, right? Whether that's Hawaii, and you would have said, oh man, they just won their conference. They had an upset win in their conference tournament to get the automatic bid. Oh boy, Nebraska doesn't match up well with them. Or Cal Baptist being able to beat Utah Valley on Saturday night, or the other 13 seed Hofstra. Like, we would be able to do this and freak out about any of these 13 seeds. So it doesn't matter that it's Troy on the other side. But I do think, despite Nebraska not playing their best basketball right now, they still deserve the credit of being a 4 seed. And I told Bach this last night also, and I'll say the same thing to you, Austin. Like, Nebraska fans, we have to be prepared for it to be the most popular upset pick. Like, it's just going to naturally happen. Nebraska's the one power conference team that's never won an NCAA tournament game. Troy hasn't either, but they're not a power conference team, right? And it's, at the end of the day, guess what? Are you more confident, and this is where I played the game, in the 4-13 matchups, right? Are you more confident in a Kansas team in March led by Bill Self and a potential number 1 overall pick? Or are you more confident in Nebraska? The national folks that don't pay attention are going to say, I'm more confident in Kansas just because they've been there. How about on the other side, Arkansas and John Calipari? Well, Calipari, they've lost games in the early season, but they've at least been there more often than Nebraska, right? So Nebraska is going to be the more popular upset pick when comparing it to just that 13-4 matchup or 4-13 matchup. Same with Alabama and Hofstra. Nate Oates, they've been there. They've been in the NCAA tournament. We have to get ready for, as when we see brackets come out, this consistency of Troy upsetting Nebraska. That's going to be a lot of people's 13-4. But at the end of the day, as long as Nebraska just handles what they can control, and they can control that factor of it and how they play on Thursday morning, that's the only thing that matters. Don't allow any of this outside noise to get within those walls. And I know Fred Hoiberg talked about that last night.
Yeah, and I've been a big believer all year that this team has done a good job of not letting the outside noise creep in. I think everything we've heard from that program has been focused on itself. But it's only human, right? To hear some of it, or, to start to wonder yourself, well, are we really that good? I'm not a huge believer in the mood of the fan base setting the mood of the team. But, Nick, if there are people out there listening who do believe that, like, we need to pour the positive momentum, positive juju, positive vibes, whatever you want to call it, into the team, and butterfly effect down the line, maybe it helps Nebraska. It's okay to walk around with a little swagger, right? Yeah. You took a punch in February, in early March, but guess what? Nebraska stood back up. They're a 4 seed. They were one game going any different from being a 3.
Yeah.
You could argue that they, had a comparable resume to Illinois, who is safe as a 3. Committee didn't see it that way, so Nebraska ends up as the top 4 seed. But if you're a fan that wants to walk around nervous, I get it. Nebraska hasn't won a game. You're going to hear all the conversation.
Yeah.
But I do think that this is an opportunity for Nebraska to play the us against the world card. The chance to make history card. And fans as well. Everyone else wants to doubt you. Are you going to let that creep into your own mindset and say, well, what if they're onto something? What if they're right? Where's the fun in that?
Yeah.
Enjoy the fact that this team that people thought was going to be lucky to make the NCAA tournament before the year, to get to take a lot of breaks to maybe scrape its way in, was safely in the field for the last 3 months.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe that's part of it too, Nick, is that we spent so much time talking about the NCAA tournament, how it's going to go, and this win that now that it's finally here, Husker fans are kind of freaking out about it. But I echo everything you said before too. We would have been having the same conversation regardless of who the 13th seed was.
Yeah, 100%. We did get this text on the text line, 464-5685, 1097. says this: are you guys mad that we aren't the 3 seed? I want to get into that because let's go ahead and as we've taken a step forward here to talk about the NCAA tournament, I think there is something to be said, and we do need to discuss what happened Friday night and what happened the rest of the weekend with Purdue, because that might have been more of a Purdue conversation rather than a Nebraska conversation. So with that being said, let's take a break here. 464-5685. We'll get to every single one of your texts. Eric and Lincoln, I see you. IQ Crew, what's up? 1982-0368. Tater, Big B, 6785. Thomas and Lincoln, we appreciate you guys for reaching out as well. And a couple of more on there that I might have missed, so I apologize. But still, 464-5685. We'll get to all your texts when we come back and throughout the course of the show. Don't go anywhere. We talk it. Nebraska, 3 seed versus 4 seed. Did they deserve to get bumped down to a 4? Should they have stuck up on the 3? Purdue able to jump a whole seed line to the 2. We dive into all that, talk Big Ten tournament when we come back here on 93.7 The Ticket.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
The best barbecue deal in town is at Hog Wild. We're serving up a $5.99 meal deal that includes a 1-meat sandwich, your favorite classic side and a drink, all for just $5.99. Craving brisket? Upgrade to our tender, slow-smoked beef brisket for only $1.50 more. Join us for lunch or dinner, or order online at GoHogWild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway, Lincoln.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Bagels & Joe is the best place to start off your mornings this spring. And you can order your breakfast ahead of time on their app. March's cream cheese flavor is Green Goddess. Pair it with a leprechaun latte. Stop by any of their 4 locations in Lincoln and their location in Seward. Bagels & Joe.
Back Nine Golf in South Lincoln is the premier indoor golf experience in the state. The weather in the winter months is cold, windy, and as unpredictable as a tee shot on the 450-yard par 4. With top-of-the-line full-swing simulators and a PGA teaching professional, Back Nine Golf is there to help you improve your game and lower your score. Back Nine Golf is open to the public with 24/7 access for members. Learn about Back Nine's variety of memberships today and see the facility for yourself at 7501 South 15th Street in Lincoln, just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Back Nine Golf, your premier indoor golf and events destination.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
You're counting on your team to win, so why not prove it? By placing your bets at Warhorse Sportsbook. Their win is your win. Put your money where your mouth is on nearly every sporting event. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person at Warhorse Casino, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Water heater gone? Call Bryant. The price you're quoted is the price you'll pay. And in most cases, same-day replacement. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell & Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. 1221 N Street, Lincoln.
When it comes to concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction doesn't stall. They go for the takedown. As Nebraska's full-service concrete contractor, they stay in bounds, hold inside position, and never forfeit quality. Whether it's foundations, flatwork, or concrete coatings, they elevate performance and pin down results that win every time. Stevenson Smith Construction is a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket. Because when it's time to wrestle with concrete, Stevenson Smith Construction slams expectations. Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program by building a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
In communities like ours, local relationships still matter. At Insight Partners, we believe we are better together. That's why insurance agencies across the Midwest have joined Insight Partners to better serve local customers and communities with all their insurance needs. From personal to commercial or specialty insurance, your local Insight Partners team is here to help protect what matters most.
Way out there where the sun comes up under the big red sky, I do life the way I love, with family by my side. I feel home with me, no matter where I go.
Proud of where we're from, excited for where we're going. Pinnacle Bank, the way banking should be. Member FDIC.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize to participate in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Now back to The Drive with Aaron Davis and Nick Sainert on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in. It is The Drive, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick Sainert alongside Austin Orman with you on a Monday. Exciting week. It's going to fly on by. As just a reminder, we will have plenty of stuff coming up. We will be at Buffalo Wings and Rings 68th and O on Thursday. Not we, the station, will be at Buffalo Wings and Rings. Austin making his way down to Oklahoma City for the game, but we will be there.
Can I just say, I'm going to miss you guys at Wings and Ring. I'm going to miss my Southern fried wings. Like the 3 years now that I've been here at the Ticket, I mean, the Super Bowl is obviously incredible.
Yeah.
But there's just something about March Madness at Wings and Rings, people coming in and out, watching different games. I'm a fan of the Southern fried wings, usually with the onion rings on the side. So I need to say a big thank you to Buffalo Wings and Rings, even though I won't be there. They've always been great to us.
Here's what I'm going to also say. With Buffalo Wings and Rings and this Thursday specifically, thank goodness I won't be on air at 11:40 when the game's going on, because there's not a chance I'd be able to put together radio while Nebraska basketball is playing their game. So anyway, with that being said, it's going to be a fun time. We'll have ping pong ball giveaways as we always do, so make sure you're one of the first 64. I have a feeling we get there at 11, so we start broadcasting live at 11. We'll be there from 11 to 6 on Thursday and Friday. Here's the deal. I have a feeling we usually get people to people usually lined up about 10, 15 for ping pong balls. Do we think that it's probably like 9:30 for ping pong balls this year, 10 a.m.? Because not only do you have the normal excitement of March Madness, but you have Nebraska tipping off within the 11 o'clock hour.
What we might need to do is get with our folks at Wings and Rings. And I know we have connections at LPD.
Yeah.
Can we set up our own version of Krzyzewskiville for ping pong balls?
Oh, that'd be fun.
It's supposed to, it's cold as you know what right now, but it's going to be much nicer later in the week.
Yeah, you guys down in Oklahoma City have nice weather this week, by the way.
Well, it's going to be nicer up here too.
Good.
Eventually.
It's about time.
I think there's a world, especially for Thursday, can we get people camping out as early as Tuesday morning to reserve their spot in line?
Guys,
LPD, if you're listening, Buffalo Wings and Rings, if you're listening, please.
Are you aware of the weather on Thursday?
I was told it gets nicer.
It is a high of 88 on Thursday.
That is going to be a 79-degree swing from where it was when I woke up this morning.
It is 11 degrees right now in Lincoln.
Man.
It's 11 degrees right now. Feels like -7. Wednesday, it's a high of 78. Thursday, high of 88. Friday, high of 88. Saturday, high of 80.
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
I'm telling you.
Make the Husker version of Krzyzewskiville happen this week.
Are folks camping out for ping pong balls? I will not be there that early. We do need to figure out the situation with this show on Thursday. But anyway,
I was going to be on with you on stream, but now they played 11:40.
Yeah.
I joined from the arena.
Well, are you planning? What's your thought on? Well, that's definitely going to be happening.
Mm-hmm.
We can talk about this. This is logistics. We can't just make these decisions on air. Anyway, as always, 402-464-5685. We will also today, I will say by noon, we will have our ticket bracket challenge set up. The honest truth of it is, I just need to create a new account for the ticket on ESPN. That's just how it is. So anyway, that's what we're doing. It'll be free. And there'll be plenty of prizes. So this is a big week for us. And we're excited for it. Joe B asked a very important question. Nick, are you setting up Austin for lodging at the Super 8 in Norman? No, I would never wish my worst enemy to sit at that Super 8 in Moore, Oklahoma. It wasn't even in Norman. It was in Moore, Oklahoma. I do. Wait, this is fun, actually. Great idea, Joe B, because we've brought up the conversation about the Super 8 in Norman, Moore, Oklahoma quite often. They are, I want to see what the rate is this weekend because they jacked up the price when I went down there for the Oklahoma game in 2021.
Shocker.
Normally it's like $39 a night. I mean, it's a dicey hotel. You're right on the interstate. I mean, it's dicey. They also make the pictures online look so much better. It was normally $39 a night. I think I paid like $190 when I went down there for the Nebraska-Oklahoma game.
Price?
Yeah, for the Nebraska-Oklahoma game in 2021. But it was the only thing that was available. All right, let's see it. If I want to check out tonight, my price is $53. All right, so okay. Let's see. So Nebraska plays on Thursday. I want to check out. Okay, search. Let's check out what we got going on for the price in Moore, Oklahoma, which is halfway between Oklahoma City and Norman, if I remember correctly. It says limited availability.
Act fast.
Oh, my word. $243 for a one king bedroom.
Sextupling in price.
Do not stay, Husker fans, do not stay at the Moore, Oklahoma Super 8. I'm just going to say that right now. That is horrible, man.
I was ready to book my own hotel.
Yeah.
And drive if I had to. Never forget, shout out to the good people of Edmond, Oklahoma for hosting us when we went down to Stilley.
Edmond. I forgot about Ed. I gave a car wash quite a bit of business that weekend. That was fun.
Remember that weird back road we drove on super late at night? Thought we were being like Friday the 13th.
Yes. It was a very windy road. Yeah.
No lights, just our van headlights, no one else on the road.
Oh, man. There's been a lot of times where it's been interesting. Yeah, that's absurd. Joe B on the text line, that just pissed me off because they're tonight $53, Thursday night $203 to stay at the same exact hotel. That just makes it tough. But hey, do what you got to do for business. But anyway, okay. Here we are. It's already 9:40.
We can have the 1097 conversation. We can do it.
Okay. So
we can have that.
What do you mean by that?
The text from 1097?
Oh, yeah.
We can
okay.
Do that.
Yeah. Okay. That works good. So 1097 checked or comes in on the text line, says, "Are you guys mad that Nebraska's not a 3 seed?" My initial thought, no. Austin, I'll let you run wild with it first.
15% mad.
Okay.
I still think Nebraska had enough of a body of work to be in the conversation for a 3 seed, but we can really look at who they got passed by in a second. But the key metric that the committee used this year, we don't know the whole formula. They use a bunch of them. The key indicator from the committee, at least as of the reveal of the top 16 teams for the first time about, month ago or so in mid-February, was wins above bubble. In that ranking, Nebraska is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th in the country.
Yeah.
Which would lead you to believe they're a middle of the road 3rd seed. Okay, we go to the net, which wasn't brought up at all in that selection show, but is used in some capacity. Nebraska is number 14 in that ranking. So somewhere between that, you would say that they're number 12. Nebraska actually ends up with number 13 seed overall. Nebraska was the top 4 seed, missed out on a 3 seed by just 1 spot. But it's important to keep in mind the teams then that ended up jumping Nebraska, right? Maybe not Illinois jumped Nebraska, but I think it's a little closer. But Illinois is number 7 in the KenPom ratings. They're top 10 in the net. About a full win above bubble behind Nebraska, but I think Illinois has been a bigger story. I think they, have more national love, prestige, whatever. So Illinois, quote unquote, jumps Nebraska. Purdue had already jumped Nebraska. I didn't think they jumped all the way up to a 2 seed.
Yeah.
That's kind of insane to me, but
Really?
so be it. I mean, they lost 6 games. They
did.
Or 8 games. You don't really see that from a 2 seed very often, especially a team that finished as far back in the Big Ten as it did.
Yeah.
I think both the Braden Smith first team nod and the Purdue 2 seed were kind of legacy nods. I really do. Okay, but then we can get to, I think, the teams in closer conflict with Nebraska.
Yes or no? Purdue's the Final Four team.
No, not anymore.
Okay.
Got a chance, but I'm not taking them there. The teams that I think Nebraska fans would have a bigger gripe about. You can't say Arkansas because the Hogs ended up being behind Nebraska.
That's true.
I thought
Nebraska was the top 4 seed.
Right. I thought Vandy was going to be in that conversation with Nebraska.
I agree.
I thought they got maybe a little bit disrespected and maybe even had a case to be right there with Nebraska on that 3 or 4 line. Instead, they're a 5. But really, I think it comes down to Virginia. The Commodores ended up the Cavaliers ended up as the number 12 seed, 1 spot ahead of Nebraska.
Yeah.
With very similar metrics, right? Virginia 1 spot ahead of Nebraska in KenPom. Virginia 2 spots ahead of Nebraska in wins above bubble and 6 spots ahead of Nebraska in Bart Torvik. In the net, those 2 teams are separated again by 2 spots, with Virginia being just a little bit higher. So again, by wins above bubble, it's close. But I think more than anything, Nick, this is where Nebraska let itself down in not passing the eye test, right? In losing by 20 to UCLA, in losing the way it did against Iowa, in not having that quote unquote marquee victory to hang the hat on since you go back to that week in early January, right? Nebraska's had plenty of close calls. Nebraska's really only gotten blitzed once, but between the up and down nature of, late February into early March, with the big loss to UCLA in the last week of the season, paired then with a one and done showing in the Big Ten tournament, which there's less shame when you lose to the eventual champion. Purdue plays well, give the Boilers credit, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Had Nebraska beaten Purdue, they're a 3 seed. Had Nebraska gone on the road and beat UCLA or even not lost by, 20, probably a 3 seed. If Virginia had fallen short in the ACC semis, probably Nebraska's a 3 seed. But because Virginia pushed Duke the way they did, making up for a big blowout loss that they suffered in Cameron earlier in the year, because you just look at the records, Virginia ends up like 2.5 games better than Nebraska, 3 more wins and 1 loss fewer than the Huskers at that point. Virginia passed the eye test a little bit better. And as much as it's about the metrics and the full body of work, Nebraska's kind of been on the periphery of this conversation. Felt like they were trying to hang on to a 3 seed. Nebraska never went out and fully grabbed the 3 seed, which is why they end up as the top overall 4 seed, where you can make an argument for them over Virginia. I think you could still make an argument for Nebraska over Michigan State, but
bingo.
But Michigan State, also played a little bit better against Michigan, pushed them down the stretch and has the respect. Even Illinois, Nebraska compares really favorably to. But I just think Nebraska didn't do quite enough over the last 15 or so days, maybe 3 weeks, to really secure a 3 seed where it was fully in their grasp.
It was. I think, Austin, I told you while we were off the air or on break that we also knew, and this is just another example, right? That the name on the jersey does matter a little bit, and to where Nebraska, in the eyes of the committee, in the eyes of the national pundits, if you will, and if you need to fact check this, talk about where, go see what Jeff Goodman's saying about Nebraska.
Lead 8 or bust.
Or Joe Lenardi, right? Is that at the end of the day, Nebraska's never going to get, at least this season, was never going to get the benefit of the doubt, right? They were always going to be, if there was a loss, it was, wow, move Nebraska down. They're not for real. They're not legit. They're fraudulent. And if there's a win in the Big Ten tournament, it's always going to be, well, I need to see more to give them really the respect they deserve. And that's just how it is. That's just how it was going to be. And so, I mean, here's what I'll say. The metrics, when you brought up Vanderbilt, it's really interesting, Austin, because you look at the two resumes combined. Vanderbilt's resume in terms of the net rankings is actually quite a bit more impressive. There is one specific number that sticks out like a sore thumb when you're comparing Vanderbilt and Nebraska's resume, and it's the non-conference strength of schedule. Nebraska had a non-conference strength of schedule of 306th in the country
out of 367.
Yes. Vanderbilt's was 117th. Neither was good, but one was almost 200 spots ahead and tougher than Nebraska's. However, here is potentially the thing Nebraska fans can hold their hat on if we're looking at the metrics and the analytics and the stats. Vanderbilt's average NET or net ranking of their losses, 28th. Not bad. Not bad at all. Nebraska's?
Let me guess. It's probably like, it's in the teens, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, like 15?
14th. They're at Nebraska's, and this is like, not to play the quality loss game, but there is some validity to it.
Yeah.
There's validity to it. Also, there's a much larger sample size. Like, I'm okay playing the quality loss conversation when we're talking men's basketball and conference play, because it's a larger body of work. There are more games. Are you still doing the same things you were doing in January that you're doing in late February? How about in late December in late February? Like things like that. There's a larger body of work. I don't like the close loss conversation because there's fewer games to pick from in like football.
Yeah.
I don't like it necessarily in basketball, but I see more validity to it in men's basketball, which is applicable to Nebraska right now, right? Because Nebraska's losses were, it was obviously, I mean, to Michigan, who's number 2, Purdue, who's number 9, Illinois, who's number 8, Purdue again, who's number 9, Iowa, who's 27, UCLA, who's 30. Like that's it. That's where you're at.
Which would tell you then, according to the net, that both UCLA and Iowa are underseeded.
Sure, 100%. Which, and
slightly.
I also don't want to get into this mindset of like the net is the end all be all, because I do not like looking at one specific metric that nobody really knows how it's figured. I get it. We all know, okay, depending on their net ranking, it's a quad 1, quad 2, quad 3, quad 4 matchup. But nonetheless, there are, when you brought up Nebraska and Vanderbilt comparatively, right? There is something to be said. Nebraska's just not going to get the benefit of the doubt. I just don't know if we need to complicate it more than it is.
They're not going to get the benefit of the doubt. And also, Vandy just beat the brakes off of Florida, who earned a 1 seed.
Who might be one of the hottest teams in the country.
Right. So, again, eye test. Nebraska had the opportunity to do the same thing that Vandy did. Yeah. They didn't do it. They still land, I think, in a pretty good position, all things considered. It just leaves you wondering, just a little bit of a what if.
We can continue this conversation on the other side. Also, we will have some stuff to give away. Our gift card, $50 to Liquid Assets Sports Bar and Grill. When we come back, trivia question time. And I've got a doozy of a trivia question. And it comes from, I asked it to you over the weekend, Austin, or over last week while we were at state basketball. And I cannot wait. I have to shout out for this trivia question. Nebraska volleyball assistant coach, his name's Nate Wilson, who gave me this trivia question. We were all together last Wednesday or Thursday, and he asked me this question. It took me 2 guesses to get it correct, and I want to give away gift cards with this trivia question here to you. So get ready. On the other side, we give away $50 to Liquid Assets. It's going to be a great spot. They got over 40 TVs. Great spot to watch March Madness this week and for the weeks to come. And so when we come back, we'll do that here on 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com.
Nutrition Authority invites you to check out the top-selling Epic Effects. Epic Effects is designed to help blast body fat, curb cravings, and provide smooth energy so you can cruise through the day. Home of free samples and better than internet pricing, Epic Effects can only be found in Nutrition Authority. For store info, visit mynutritionauthority.com.
Tune in to Outside the Box from 4 to 5 p.m. for everything you need to know about the Lincoln Stars. Join head coach Rocky Russo and play-by-play voice Alex Fern as they sit down with special player guests to tell the story of the Lincoln Stars and give you all the news and notes you need from around the USHL. That's Outside the Box with the Lincoln Stars on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Bagels & Joe is the best place to start off your mornings this spring, and you can order your breakfast ahead of time on their app. March's cream cheese flavor is Green Goddess. Pair it with a leprechaun latte. Stop by any of their 4 locations in Lincoln and their location in Seward. Bagels & Joe.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
The best barbecue deal in town is at Hog Wild. We're serving up a $5.99 meal deal that includes a one-meat sandwich, your favorite classic side and a drink, all for just $5.99. Craving brisket? Upgrade to our tender, slow-smoked beef brisket for only $1.50 more. Join us for lunch or dinner, or order online at GoHogWild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway, Lincoln.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell & Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. 1221 N Street, Lincoln.
Have you been looking for home technology upgrades but don't know where to turn? Online information can be contradicting and confusing. Lincoln's own experts at Diode Technologies can turn your living room into the place to watch your favorite sports. Whatever your vision is, Diode Tech is ready to make it a reality. From home theaters to outdoor entertainment spaces, they bring you along through the entire process to make sure you get exactly what you want. If you're ready to upgrade your entertainment space, visit Diode Tech online at diodetech.net or give them a call at 402-793-5124.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Tired of asking what's for dinner? Nourished for Life has got you covered. At Nourished, they're a local meal prep company that delivers fresh, chef-crafted, healthy meals straight to your door. Made from wholesome ingredients and ready when you are. No shopping, no chopping. Just heat, eat, and enjoy every night of the week. Fuel your busy days with balanced meals that are designed to keep you satisfied and energized. Visit nourishedforlife.co to purchase meals and taste the convenience of home-cooked comfort without the hassle. Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program by building a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
You're counting on your team to win, so why not prove it? By placing your bets at Warhorse Sportsbook. Their win is your win. Put your money where your mouth is on nearly every sporting event. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person at Warhorse Casino, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Mike, I've been thinking our house could really use a makeover. How about new siding?
I've been thinking the same thing. Have you heard of James Hardy?
Yes. Sarah down the street had Roofing Service Company install James Hardy siding on their home, and they love it.
Roofing Service Company does have great reviews.
They took her through the design process and made everything super easy.
Roofing Service Company offers expert design and installation. Couple that with James Hardy's durable products and variety of colors, you and your family will love your exterior remodel. Just visit roofingservicecompany.com. That's roofingservicecompany.com.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize to participate in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contests, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Now back to The Drive with Aaron Davis and Nick Sainert on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All righty, get those texting fingers out, because I've been waiting for this moment for the last, 6 days or so. It was last Wednesday. I was hanging out with a couple of friends, and one of them, we were naming off as guys, just guys being dudes. Austin, you'll appreciate this. We were naming the most random college basketball players we could think of. I mean, it was so much fun.
I added one to that, sitting on press row.
Yes. What'd you say?
Who did I add? I think you texted the group after I said the name.
Hold on, let me see.
I'm pretty sure you texted the group, because now he's escaping my mind. I was in the zone when you brought it up.
So once again, so a good friend of mine, Nate Wilson, who is an assistant coach for Nebraska volleyball. Let's see. Hold on. Let me see. I got
because someone brought up DeJuan Blair, and maybe I just think too much about DeJuan Blair.
Lamb?
I said Doron Lamb.
Doron Lamb.
Yeah, there we go.
Doron Lamb. So anyway, Nate, last Wednesday, it was Nate, myself, a couple other people. We were actually at Liquid Assets, and great friend of ours at the station, right? And we were doing all these random trivia questions, just guys being dudes, as we were watching Big Ten's basketball tournament, because it was the night of Northwestern and Purdue was when we were watching it. So Thursday night. And what happened here was we were going through saying, okay, hey, let's go through the 2016 NFL draft. And do you remember who the Cleveland Browns took 4th overall, right? So we were doing those types of activities and exercises, which you can just do for hours. We were talking about Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. We were talking about Michael Carter-Williams. I mean, it was a full thing. I want to pass this trivia question along to you guys. For $50 to Liquid Assets Sports Bar, 27th and Yankee Hill, just off behind our other friends, Honda of Lincoln. A great spot, great place for March Madness if you're going to find a spot to watch the game. $50, one winner. Here is the trivia question. There is one city in America that is within a 2.5 hour drive of a university in the Big Ten Conference, Big East Conference, SEC, ACC, and Big 12. What city is that? There is one, and I'm not trying to give you a question that is, hey, Milford, Nebraska. It's not like a small town. It is a known city, well-known city. One city in the United States in the new landscape of college athletics that is within a 2.5 hour drive of a Big 12 school, Big 10 school, Big East, because we're talking Power 5, Big SEC, ACC.
Can we really even consider it a Big 5 after what the committee did to St. John's?
That's true.
That's the real question.
Now there's been a lot. We've probably got 30 texts here, and I have not seen it yet.
Oh, yep, I see it.
There it is.
Yep.
We've got a winner. Big B, Cincinnati, Ohio. Cincinnati is the winner of that one. So let's go through the 5. Okay. It is Cincinnati is your Big 12. Xavier is your Big East.
In the same city.
Mm-hmm. Kentucky is your SEC. Louisville is your ACC. Ohio State is your Big 10.
Wow.
It took me 2 guesses. I said Indianapolis initially, but Indianapolis was just a little too far. Cincinnati, Ohio. Big B, congratulations. You win $50 to our friends at Liquid Assets. Stop by the station within the next 30 days. I recommend in the next couple of days. And you can grab those gift cards for your March Madness viewing experiences. So I thought that was a great trivia question. Some of the other guesses that we had that were incorrect in here. Pittsburgh, Indianapolis was one. Yeah, Indianapolis is a popular one.
St. Louis, but
St. Louis, like Kansas City was a popular guess for the people we were asking. Because then what
Vegas
I did,
darn near.
I took Nate's trivia question. I said, all right, Nate. I was like, I asked everybody on press row at state basketball this question. Kansas City was a popular guess there. Omaha, because people thought that it'd be close to home, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I initially thought Indianapolis because I thought, maybe Missouri, the SEC team there.
Yeah.
But it'd be closer to Kentucky, obviously. So
Right.
there you go. I thought that was a real good trivia question. You can use that at your next family gathering. But nonetheless, all right, let's take a break. When we come back, let's dive back into the NCAA tournament. There's plenty of more stuff that we want to get to, some more texts as well that we got into. If there's any specific angle that you guys want us to talk about, let us know. 402-464-5685. And we will definitely get to that over the course of the next hour of the show. Nick Sainer, Austin Norman with you. It's The Drive 93.7, The Ticket, ticketfm.com.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. 1221 N Street, Lincoln.
All right, Lincoln, if you're a diesel technician who's ready to earn up to $40 an hour and you're tired of working nights and weekends, listen up. Inland Truck Parts and Service is hiring experienced diesel technicians right here in Lincoln, and they're offering what every hardworking tech wants. Monday through Friday hours, no nights, no weekends, and paid training on advanced diesel technology. With 37 locations across 12 states, career advancement opportunities are endless. Start building towards your future and apply today at inlandtruck.com. That's inlandtruck.com. Or text APPLY to 785-369-1320. Tune in to Outside the Box from 4 to 5 p.m. for everything you need to know about the Lincoln Stars. Join head coach Rocky Russo and play-by-play voice Alex Verne as they sit down with special player guests to tell the story of the Lincoln Stars and give you all the news and notes you need from around the USHL. That's Outside the Box with the Lincoln Stars on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Forget the lame excuse this year. Your boss already knows why you can't make it to work for those 2 magical days in mid-March. Join 93.7 The Ticket on Thursday and Friday, March 19th and 20th at Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O for March Mayhem. Come early on Thursday to get a ping pong ball with a lucky team on it and stay all day for prizes throughout and buzzer beater upsets. It's March Mayhem with 93.7 The Ticket for the NCAA tournament at Buffalo Wings and Rings on 68th and O.
When you or someone you know has been seriously injured and you find yourself in need of an attorney, call Liberty Law Group. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group will fight for the justice you deserve in court to get the very best possible outcome. Trust the compassionate and hardworking attorneys at Liberty Law Group when you need an attorney in Nebraska or Iowa. Call them today at 877-404-5238. That's 877-404-5238. Or check them out online at libertylawgroup.com.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
You're counting on your team to win, so why not prove it? By placing your bets at Warhorse Sportsbook. Their win is your win. Put your money where your mouth is on nearly every sporting event. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person at Warhorse Casino, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see mostly sunny skies. It'll be breezy and chilly with the high near 28. Tonight, increasing cloud cover with a light breeze, a low around 11. And tomorrow, a slight chance of showers, otherwise mainly cloudy and breezy, with the high near 48. I'm meteorologist Kyle Flecker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Husker fans, baseball is back in Lincoln, and it's time to get your tickets to Nebraska baseball. Catch great matchups all season long as the Huskers take on some of the top teams in the Big Ten, including Indiana, USC, and Iowa. Plus, don't miss midweek action against in-state rival Creighton and regional matchups with Kansas and Kansas State. Bring the whole family. General admission tickets start at just $10 or grab reserved seats for $15. Don't miss your chance to be part of the action this season. Get your tickets today by visiting huskers.com/tickets or by calling 1-800-8-BIG-RED. Tired of asking what's for dinner? Nourished for Life has got you covered. At Nourished, they're a local meal prep company that delivers fresh, chef-crafted, healthy meals straight to your door. Made from wholesome ingredients and ready when you are. No shopping, no chopping. Just heat, eat, and enjoy every night of the week. Fuel your busy days with balanced meals that are designed to keep you satisfied and energized. Visit nourishedforlife.co to purchase meals and taste the convenience of home-cooked comfort without the hassle.
Biggest question people have is, how do I start the process? What is the process? I want to build a new home, but I don't know what the first step is.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
The first step is make an appointment. Come on into my office. Let's sit around the table. Let's talk about what you're looking for, what your needs are, what your budget might be. And let's come up with some answers on what we're going to build, where we're going to build it, and what it's going to cost. And get a house that you're going to be happy with. So now is really the time to be contacting us to get an appointment to get the job done. Once you find a good lot, let's get it reserved because there's a very limited number of lots in this town. And then start designing that floor plan that's going to be perfect for you. Next thing you know, we're moving dirt.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Welcome to The Drive with Aaron Davis and Nick Sainert. Former football national champion, speaker, and author Aaron Davis.
Pain is a teacher if you use it. And the lessons in the carnage of pain sometimes are elusive. They hide, they're stealth. The work is finding the lessons through the pain. There's always a message in the mess. Depends on if we want to get dirty and look for it.
Nick Sainert. Driving left side is Boyer, picks up his dribble, looking for some help, decides to go up strong with it, and the layup will rattle home. Jack Riley picks the pocket of B.J. Bradford up the floor to Jack Ostrider. Watch out! Bonfisi in the lane, kicks it out. 3-ball, Townsley, right wing, it's good!
It's on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in. It is The Drive, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick Sainert alongside Austin Orman as we continue counting down the days, the hours, the minutes until Nebraska basketball plays Troy on Thursday at 11:40 a.m. Don't forget, we'll be live at Buffalo Wings and Rings, 68th and O in Lincoln, as we will be broadcasting live from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. You can line up beforehand. We'll be giving away the 64 ping pong balls. Just a reminder how the ping pong balls work. You have to be present to get a ping pong ball. I apologize, but as I'll kind of be the point man on that whole situation, you won't be able to just grab one for somebody that is showing up. You have to be there. And so that's just, we got to do it that way. And so same way raffle tickets, we'll be passing out raffle tickets while you guys are sitting down. I mean, there's tons of free giveaways. The ping pong balls, the way those work, basically your ping pong ball is who you're cheering for the entire tournament. If your team is one of the 4 to make the Final Four, you'll win some prizes. If your team is in the national championship, you'll actually win a couple of nicer prizes. And if your team's the eventual national champion, you'll win our grand prize. And so more details on what those prizes will be when they come. I know, there's tons of gift cards. There's some there. I think last year we had it was like a Yeti cooler.
Yeah.
Like there was some pretty cool stuff there. that was decked out, swagged out as well. Plenty of 93.7 The Ticket swag that will be given away. Plenty of T-shirts and things like that will come on during commercial breaks every couple of games, and we will be giving away free prizes there. So as always, if you've been to our March Madness party before, you can attest, tell your friends, tell your family how much of a good time it is, but then also tell somebody new. And as they say on the Early Break Show, Build a Breaker, how about this? Build a March Madness attendee for Thursday and Friday. We'll be there from 11 to 6 doing the same thing. The ping pong balls will probably be gone, I don't know, by, let's see. Folks will set up around, probably start lining up at about 10:15. I would imagine the ping pong balls will open up doors at 10:30, I think is when it is. I'll get more information on that. They'll probably be gone by 11. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there's 64 people lining up, because guess what? If you're lining up, you're going to get to watch Nebraska basketball at 11:40 a.m. as well. So should be a great time this Thursday. We're really looking forward to it. And as Austin and Jake and the rest of the guys will be going down to Oklahoma City, we'll be kind of handling things back here at Buffalo Wings and Rings. 68th, so we hope to see you there. All right, let's dive into this text real quick from Eric. How about this? Brad from Baldwin just texted and said his son and I will be in line at 9 a.m. Woo! How about that? I won't probably be there at 9 a.m. Anyway.
You'll be on a show.
I will be on a show for at least a little bit. Okay, so Eric sent this earlier, not mean Eric, but new, nice Eric. Eric says this: I feel like the Nebraska basketball team has been struggling recently. He talks about the offense, and he talks about the defense. He then goes on to say, I don't care how good of a shape you're in. I feel like our guys are getting physically tired playing the way we play for the whole season. I feel like eventually it will take a toll. If Nebraska had 2 or 3 more guys in the rotation, they might still be winning like they were in the beginning. What are your guys' thoughts? Thanks, Eric. Eric, thank you for the text. It appears it might have been your first text ever on the show. I would say this, Austin, I'll let you run wild with it, because I don't want to spend a lot of time on the way Nebraska plays, because I think that's a conversation that is really, I don't want to say pointless, but it is pointless, because this is just who Nebraska is at this point. This is how they're going to play. I don't worry as much about the guys being physically tired or worn down. The part I specifically want to discuss is the rotation number, because all regular season we've talked about how, man, it would be nice if Nebraska just had one more guy, right? One more consistent guy. And I think there's been a lot of people, myself included, that have wanted that to be Jared Garcia. There's been a lot of people maybe in the early parts of the year were wondering, okay, maybe that could be Kendall Blue if he can crack the rotation. Other than that, though, it hasn't been consistently. We saw Jared Garcia, and that is the most, as we watched it unfold on Friday against Purdue, Austin, Jared Garcia is the most 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, 4 steps forward, 3 steps back. All right, let me give you a little bit, but then I'm going to take some back for you, because with every positive play, it feels like the negative play follows. Nebraska's, and I'm going to stand on imagine me standing on the studio counter when I say this, shouting it from the rooftop. I'm not as concerned about Nebraska's rotation in March Madness as I would be in the regular season.
No, I'm right there with you. You're playing 7 guys if you're one of the best teams in the country. Anyways, maybe it's an 8th break glass in case of emergency for injury or foul trouble. But the 7 guys that Nebraska really, let ride through the course of the regular season, the starting 5 plus Jacobson plus Frager, you are going to see those guys, I would guess, for 85 plus, maybe 90% of Nebraska's minutes in the NCAA 100%. Tournament. The only other thing I'll add is that maybe an extra body to get through the regular season would have been nice. But here's the thing.
Sure.
For everyone out there that is saying, well, if Nebraska just would have played someone else, they would have won another game. They would have lost wouldn't have lost this game, would have found a way to win this game. I can't tell you that you're wrong. Maybe there's something going on with the legs. Maybe. I don't know. But what if Nebraska trusted Jared Garcia against Michigan State and that game flipped to a loss? What if Nebraska, trusted Jared Garcia late against Ohio State and that led to a loss?
Yeah.
We're talking about Nebraska maybe holding on to a 4 seed instead of still in the battle for a 3 seed. So you can understandably say, well, Nebraska needed to play more guys throughout the course of the regular season. And I can't tell you that it wouldn't have gone better, but I need you to tell me that you can't promise it wouldn't have gone worse. And that Nebraska wouldn't have dropped another game or two by trusting guys that the coaching staff, who again sees these guys more often than any of us, wasn't ready to trust.
100%, because we can go back and forth on individual players, right? And I think my whole conversation to this is like some of the conversation from Coach Hoiberg to the guys is like, look, we need you for 40 minutes. We need you for 38 minutes, right? Just grind it out. Like, I think if barring foul trouble, right? Barring foul trouble in the way Fred Hoiberg kind of handles those situations, like it's going to be a conversation to where do you feel greatest when Sam Hoiberg's playing 38 minutes? Like 100%. You feel great. Like 36-38. Rank Mass. Like this is back in January, taking the coach's words for what they said in late January against Michigan, in early February when Nebraska was able to sit Rank Mass. And the conversation was, Fred Hoiberg, why are you keeping Rink out for so long? And it's like, look, this is a long season, and we're going to need him eventually to play 34 to 40 minutes a game. This might be one of those situations. And so I do want to get to this real quick.
I would say just on that last point on this, again, so grateful to have been able to go to Big Ten Media Days.
Yeah.
And I heard this from two coaches that I really respect in the industry. Ben McCollum said it. Yeah, I respect the guy, even if I don't like where he's coaching or that he's 500 against Nebraska. And Matt Painter. These are two coaches with elite level point guards in Bennett Sturts and Braden Smith. And they were both asked a similar question. Well, how are you going to manage their minutes throughout the year? How do you like your depth behind them? And, they gave some credit to like an Omer Mayer, right, or a Cale Combs for their team. Like, yeah, they're there, but you only have so many games. You only have 31 regular season opportunities, which it's a long season, but it also goes by in the blink of an eye. If we are going to manage our players' minutes, it's going to be in practice because these are upperclassmen that know the install, that we trust to be in rhythm come game time. So I get that what we see are the games, and fans want to see more depth throughout the games because you like to be able to hang your hat on having a deep rotation and so many guys that are able to play. But I think more and more smart coaches, and I'm going to put Nebraska in this conversation with Fred Hoiberg, their training staff,
for sure,
with their catapult, gear as well, tracking players' workloads during games. If Nebraska was backing off the workload, it's in blowouts like Wisconsin or Oregon, or they're getting their guys enough work in practice, but saving their legs there because the games are more important than the practice.
Sure. And as always, like we talked about, 402-464-5685, Honda Lincoln Hotline, Starter Hammond text line. There's a lot of texts I want to get to here to stay on this conversation. One little side note here. I mentioned in response to Eric asking and talking about the way Nebraska plays on offense and defense and having a conversation about what we would change with it. I used the word pointless to having that conversation. The reason I said that is because, like, we know who Nebraska is at this point. Like, to talk like Nebraska needs these wholesale changes right now as they're about ready to play as a 4 seed in March Madness would be pointless because it's not going to change. Like, that's a conversation for when Nebraska at the end of April or in the middle of April when the season is wrapped up, it's got a bow on it, we're tied up, and it's over. And we can look at it with a holistic conversation and go, okay, what allowed Nebraska to make it as a 4 seed? What didn't allow them to make it to the national championship or to the Sweet 16 or to the Elite Eight? What were they missing? And that's where I think it's more because unmasked texters texted in and said pointless. That's pretty rough. Nebraska ball has played like crap for the last month and a half. This loss will sting the fan base if it happens. I 100% agree. But to talk about what Nebraska needs to do holistically in terms of X's and O's and stylistically before they've even played the game against Troy, I don't see a reason to bring that up. And so that's why I wanted to specifically talk about the rotation, because we also know, all right, what has the rotation looked like this season in the regular season, but now you're win and go home. Like you are doing everything you can to just win a game, win 40 minutes at a time and earn the right to play another 40 minutes. I can't remember. There was a coach that just this week said that, where he's like, we're playing 40 minutes to earn the right to play another 40 minutes. And at this point, like, you just need all hands on deck. You need guys to step up, but you also need your stars to be your stars.
You sure do. And I think that the part that I want to pick up on from that text from Unmasked Texter is Nebraska ball has played like crap for the last month and a half. Nebraska men's basketball has not played as well as it did to begin the year, but I also think it's still fair to say Nebraska men's basketball has played like a top 15 team. Problem is they've faced some teams that are better than the top 15. UCLA at home, top 15 team in the country, even if they're 30th in the net or so be it, right? Nebraska has been a little more inconsistent. You look at Eric Haslam's numbers. Nebraska is 356th out of 360 odd teams in his momentum ranking. The offense is 346. The defense is 312th in momentum. But their resume consistency, right in the middle of the country. We know that Nebraska's played down to some competition. We know that Nebraska's played up to some competition. We know that you want to be playing your best basketball heading into the tournament. Is Nebraska doing that? Not necessarily. But I also don't think Nebraska is playing as bad as fans want to give them credit for. Purdue got on a heater again. Nebraska didn't have answers, which you would like to see. I agree. Nebraska probably shouldn't have lost that game by 20 points. But you know what? They did. This chance, Nick, between going one and done after 4 days off at the Big Ten tournament and now another 6 days off between games at the Big Ten tournament and the NCAA tournament, maybe Nebraska needed more opportunities in there to get that winning feeling and play through it. But maybe this is the reset button. Nebraska still is favored by 2 touchdowns in this game against Troy. The way that Nebraska has been playing is good enough to beat 85% or more of the country, despite the issues, despite the warts. We've seen Nebraska against some really quality competition. Yes, maybe it wasn't as pretty as you wanted against USC, but Nebraska won that game big. Clearly, it wasn't pretty against Iowa, the way Nebraska let it slip. But you also have to give Nebraska credit for building a 14-point lead on an 8 seed or a 9 seed, wherever Iowa is, right? No, Nebraska hasn't been perfect. No, they haven't looked like they did when they started 22-0. But Nebraska still looks fine compared to the rest of the country. Right? Nebraska is one of 68 teams that is still playing. One is 68. That's got to count for something.
I think here once again, this is not. I think I can speak for Austin when I say this. We're not having these conversations to simply pour Kool-Aid on this conversation, because realistically, here's the deal, and this is where I say all the time that you and I, Austin, we're in this Nebraska bubble where we literally nitpick at every little detail because we get behind this microphone, we talk about it on a consistent basis, and I think that there's also something to be said regarding we are so fixated on Nebraska and their positives and negatives. And as fans, because we're so passionate about it, they do the same thing. We all do the same thing to where we feel like our issues are so much larger than everybody else's. I'm sure that on this very same day, at this very same moment, Arkansas is having a sports radio conversation right now saying, man, I get that we just won the SEC, but do we win the SEC if Florida's playing on the other side? Like, thank goodness Vanderbilt won. I'm sure on the other side, Vanderbilt, who is a 5 seed, is going, all right, what do we have to do to match up with Nebraska in the second round? Because guess what? McNeese is a 12 seed, and that's a popular upset pick. And Vanderbilt just lost to Arkansas yesterday. So what was keeping Vanderbilt out from being the SEC champion and potentially being a 4 seed? Like, all these conversations about what teams need to do better are going on around the country right now. It just feels so much larger because we're in the Nebraska bubble.
Even for the 1 seeds.
Bingo.
Duke was down 2 starters in the ACC tournament. Survived Florida State. Fought off Clemson. Had to come up with big plays late down the stretch against Virginia. Michigan just lost to Purdue, a team they mollywopped about 2 weeks ago. Florida just got beat by 17 points by Vanderbilt. Like you mentioned, UConn in that conversation is a 2. Just got the break speed off of them by St. John's in the Garden. Arizona is still working Koa Pete back from injury and looked mortal at the end of a strong Big 12 schedule that they had to play. And here's the other thing. It's okay to enjoy a good thing. This is just what the number 15 team in the country looks like. Okay, top 10 team, top 12 team, whatever Nebraska is. You can focus on Nebraska's negatives if you want. But understand that maybe, just maybe, this is what a top 13 team in the country looks like this year, right? Think about it in football terms. Nebraska basketball went the equivalent of 10-2, maybe 9-3 against a tough schedule. That's what Nebraska did in basketball. Of course, there are issues. Of course, there are holes that you can look at that can be exploited in a winner-take-all. It comes down to one game sort of environment. But the problems that Nebraska has, 350 teams in the country would kill to have.
Bingo. Let's go through a couple of texts before we get to break. Frank asks if Braden Frager's hurt. We have not heard anything like that, so we're not gonna. We don't want to speculate on any of that as well. I think maybe in the next segment we talk about Braden Frager a little bit, because there's been so much passionate discussion about off the floor stuff with Braden Frager that maybe we just need to focus on the on the floor stuff with Braden Frager and allow everything else to work itself out. That's just where I'm kind of at, unfortunately. Unnamed texter 2933. This is a great point. I watched a lot of championship games this weekend, and most of the teams only had a 6 to 7 man rotation. I remember back in February, I looked up, because it was a big conversation piece. I looked up Florida and Houston played in the NCAA championship game last year. They had 6 guys play considerable minutes, like in the national championship game at the end of it all. And that's where I think, and this is why I have excitement regarding Nebraska, because of the way that their roster is constructed with the experience and the veteran status of it. Is like, even though Sam Hoiberg and Rink Mast and like those guys haven't played consistently in an NCAA tournament game, they also are aware of probably what's going to be asked of them. Mm-hmm. Like they understand that what's on the line here, right? Like Sam Hoiberg understands, hey, you know what? I'm pretty valuable to this whole thing. Like I'm going to need to make myself available for as much as possible, and I'm willing to. Same with Jamarcus Lawrence. Like, this is why you come back to Nebraska. This is a big part of why. Like, these guys understand the stakes and understand probably what's going to be asked of them this week. And so when we talk about the rotation numbers, like you just need to give your bet. Once again, play well enough and be reliable for 40 minutes so you can earn another 40 minutes. That's what it is right now.
I think it just came to me for what this game feels like for Nebraska in the first round. Not quite the same level, obviously more magnitude on the NCAA tournament. Nick, this feels to me a lot like Nebraska, New Mexico, and
Bingo.
Kansas City.
I used that same comparison last night.
We were not communicating about this last night until we're on the same page, right? Nebraska's closer to home than their opponent.
Yep.
A mid-major opponent who has done some things really well, led by a good coach, Eric Olin, really good coach from New Mexico. Scott Cross already sang his praises in the first segment of the show. But Nebraska's closer to home. Nebraska's more talented. Nebraska's more tested. And Nebraska has shown a higher ceiling.
Bingo.
Okay, now, should Nebraska blow a 20-point lead to Troy? No, I would not recommend it. But guess what? Nebraska still found a way to win that New Mexico game. That, I think, is the comp for this game for me right now.
Which maybe that makes Nebraska fans feel more concerned. Maybe that makes them feel better.
Well, New Mexico ended up being a better team than Troy.
Yeah.
Now, were they conference champion? No, but New Mexico really kicked it into
ended up
gear.
being a better team than Kansas State.
Yeah.
That Nebraska saw and actually had a tougher time with than in that same little MTE. So there's a lot of details there with that conversation. Somebody on the text line, we can get to this when we come back. We're not rotating well defensively like we did early on. We're an undersized outside shooting team, and depth is tough. But it is what we got, and we ride or die with these boys. Go Big Red. Nick, Austin, and Jay, you guys all did a tremendous job during the boys and girls state games. Thank you very much for that last piece there. Let's take a break. We'll continue this conversation on the other side. Once again, we'll get to all your texts. 402-464-5685. Honda Lincoln Hotline, the Starter Heyman text line. I brought up just a last note on this conversation earlier in the show. We brought up that Nebraska's average ranking of their losses in the net is 14. Troy's, now granted, Sun Belt Conference plays a factor in this. Troy's 187th. The average ranking of a team that they'd lose to in the net this season was 187th. They only have one quad one matchup this season, not against USC.
San Diego State,
a game they won 108-107.
Because that was a double overtime game, right? Then they played triple overtime later that week against USC.
Right. That is 100% correct. And so that's their one quad one matchup that they had this entire year. That's the other side of it. Nebraska took care of business, not a single quad 2, 3, or 4 loss this year. I just like, these are things that frankly we've talked about year after year, and it's never really seemed possible until it became possible this year. So enjoy it while it's here. Let's take a break. We continue the show. 30 minutes left in the program. Nick Sander, Austin Norman. We'll be right back.
When you or someone you know has been seriously injured and you find yourself in need of an attorney, call Liberty Law Group. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group will fight for the justice you deserve in court to get the very best possible outcome. Trust the compassionate and hardworking attorneys at Liberty Law Group when you need an attorney in Nebraska or Iowa. Call them today at 877-404-5238. That's 877-404-5238. Or check them out online at libertylawgroup.com.
You're counting on your team to win, so why not prove it? By placing your bets at Warhorse Sportsbook. Their win is your win. Put your money where your mouth is on nearly every sporting event. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person at Warhorse Casino, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
There's no place like McKinney's Irish Pub for St. Patrick's Day, so mark your calendars to join in on the fun for their 12th annual Street Festival. The party goes all weekend long, but starts on March 14th and 15th with tons of giveaways, great Irish food, and green beer. And it continues on Tuesday the 17th for actual St. Patrick's Day. Doors open for the bar at 9 a.m. on Saturday, 11 a.m. on Sunday, and 9 a.m. on Tuesday. And the street party starts at 2 p.m. all 3 days. Don't miss out on great music and great fun with no cover charge for St. Patrick's Day weekend at McKinney's Irish Pub, located at 8th and P.
All right, Lincoln, if you're a diesel technician who's ready to earn up to $40 an hour and you're tired of working nights and weekends, listen up. Inland Truck Parts and Service is hiring experienced diesel technicians right here in Lincoln, and they're offering what every hardworking tech wants. Monday through Friday hours, no nights, no weekends, and paid training on advanced diesel technology. With 37 locations across 12 states, career advancement opportunities are endless. Start building towards your future and apply today at inlandtruck.com. That's inlandtruck.com. Or text APPLY to 785-369-1320.
You started your business to build something special. Now it's time to grow and protect it. At Pinnacle Bank, our treasury management services help you do just that. Through smarter payment technology, account administration, and fraud protection. So no matter the size of your business, you can get the most out of your financial operations. Request your free consultation at pinbank.com/consult. Pinnacle Bank, the way banking should be. Member FDIC.
Tired of asking what's for dinner? Nourished for Life has got you covered. At Nourished, they're a local meal prep company that delivers fresh, chef-crafted, healthy meals straight to your door. Made from wholesome ingredients and ready when you are. No shopping, no chopping. Just heat, eat, and enjoy every night of the week. Fuel your busy days with balanced meals that are designed to keep you satisfied and energized. Visit nourishedforlife.co to purchase meals and taste the convenience of home-cooked comfort without the hassle.
Looking for a financial partner that truly makes a difference? Modern Woodman is a member-owned fraternal financial services organization. We can help you plan for all stages of life, from protection to saving to retirement. We also offer member benefits, social activities, and volunteer opportunities to help your family and community.
I'm Sean Erickson, your Modern Woodman representative in Lincoln. Call me at 402-483-6515 to start the conversation.
Modern Woodman of America, touching lives, securing futures.
Nutrition Authority presents Fusion 30, an ultra premium protein ideal for anyone wanting to look, feel, and perform their best. Fusion 30 can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Stop in today for a free sample, visit with a certified nutritionist, and get better than internet pricing. For store info, visit mynutritionauthority.com.
In a world where Wi-Fi battles rage and bandwidth is never enough, one family dares to connect it all. Work from home, influence all day, stream all night, and game to win. Deadlines, downloads, and dance-offs, all happening under one roof, flawlessly. Can your internet provider do that? Fiber fuel your household at allofiber.com/all-in.
Husker fans, baseball is back in Lincoln, and it's time to get your tickets to Nebraska baseball. Catch great matchups all season long as the Huskers take on some of the top teams in the Big Ten, including Indiana, USC, and Iowa. Plus, don't miss midweek action against in-state rival Creighton and regional matchups with Kansas and Kansas State. Bring the whole family. General admission tickets start at just $10 or grab reserved seats for $15. Don't miss your chance to be part of the action this season. Get your tickets today by visiting huskers.com/tickets. or by calling 1-800-8-BIG-RED.
Hi, Charlie Stone here, and joining me is Andy Goodyear with Honda of Lincoln. Before I bring Andy on, we want to wish you joy, success, and good health in 2026. Andy, are you there?
Yes, I am, Charlie. And by the way, that was well said.
Andy, I know you want to kick off 2026 with a bang. What's going on at the dealership?
We got a lot going on here, Charlie. We have incredible savings on every new remaining 2025, New Year's savings on every new 2026, special low long-term financing, and special lease rates. The biggest news is we have more than 400 new 2025 and 2026 Hondas to choose from.
How about pre-owned?
We have over 125 pre-owned and certified pre-owned Hondas right now, with prices starting at under $10,000, and we have special low rates.
Well, maybe it's time you experience the best. The Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
Now back to The Drive with Aaron Davis and Nick Sainert on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back into The Drive, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick Sainert alongside Austin Norman with you. Quick moving show as we got about 25 minutes left in the program or so. If you filled out your bracket, let us know who your national champion pick is, 464-5685. Austin, we were talking about the East region during the break briefly there. Obviously, you're a Duke fan. The number one overall seed, the Duke Blue Devils. But my goodness, that side of the bracket, that individual region in the East region is a gauntlet. You have the number one overall seed. You have the Big East champion. You have Kansas. You have Michigan State. You have one of the hotter Big Ten teams right now, UCLA. And you have the Big East runner-up, all in the same region. Just a gauntlet for your Duke Blue Devils.
Yeah, and, Duke is never the underdog. Thank you, Quinn Cook, for that. Really appreciate it. And it's true, right? You're the overall number one seed, but holy crap, man. I mean, murderer's row, it kind of feels like. Duke and Michigan State always end up in the same region.
Yeah.
It just kind of feels like destiny at this point. Now, Duke did beat Kansas. It looks like they beat him by 12. That was a much closer game.
Yep.
Darren Peterson, I don't remember. I don't think he played in that one, or if he did, it was spotty minutes. Duke went and won at Michigan State there. They've handled that. They obviously beat Louisville a couple of different times, went on the road and beat them at the Yum Center, and then also smacked them around in Cameron. But holy smokes, man. I mean, for Duke to draw Dan Hurley in UConn.
That's right.
At the bottom of the bracket. Michigan State, who have already seen, there's a lot of familiarity there.
Yep.
Kansas with Darren Peterson actually playing minutes now. St. John's, who's just going to be a pain in the butt. And I think both underseeded and disrespected, having to go all the way out to San Diego, and then even down the line, potentially a third crack at Louisville, should it come to that, which I really don't think it will. And then even Ohio State and TCU. TCU has slain some giants this year. I don't understand them at all, but I think TCU Ohio State is a fascinating 8 versus 9 matchup.
Mm-hmm.
I like
Bruce Thornton.
Good. Mobley's back.
Oh my gosh.
And Duke's one concern right now kind of feels like the backcourt with Caleb Foster likely out for the year. Caden Boozer really stepped up for Duke in the ACC tournament.
Cam Boozer struggled in the ACC tournament a little bit.
Cam Boozer struggled in the championship
game against Virginia.
But he still put up 13, 8, and 8. Yeah. Right. So he didn't have it working down low, knocked down a 3-pointer, and had the savvy offensive rebound kick out to all but ice the game as Isaiah Evans hits the free throw. So, I mean, I think Duke shouldn't have many issues in the opening weekend. Then it gets really interesting, I think, in the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight, should they make it that far.
We got a text from the text line. Is the ticket going to set up a bracket like you guys have the last several years? Haven't heard anyone mention it yet this morning. Sorry if I missed it. It's okay. You missed it. We will have it set up. I told you guys it'll be ready to go by 11:30 to noon. We'll post it on all of our social media pages. It'll be 100% free. Full transparency, just haven't set it up yet this morning, but we will have it. We'll have giveaways. We'll have prizes for the winners, and it'll be 100% free and public for everybody to join. So tell your friends and share the link once we post it on our social media pages around 11:30 a.m. today. Are there any intriguing matchups for you in the bracket? We've talked a lot about Nebraska and Troy. We'll continue to do that ad nauseum this week. But for you, Austin, Are there any matchups, and I'll let you think about it in just a moment, because let me tell you one that I think is going to be an upset in every bracket I fill out, and I try to only do about 2. And it turns out there's a lot of similarities across the board. When I go, okay, I'm going to have a different mindset when I'm filling out this bracket. Is in the South region, 6-seeded North Carolina and 11-seeded VCU. I think VCU rolls North Carolina.
I think there's a chance. I'm obviously rooting for it.
Yeah.
I am here for it. Matchups that caught my eye, I think I'll just take this counterclockwise left going around. So by region, St. John's, Northern Iowa could be a blowout. It could also get really hairy.
Come on.
If the Cats shoot. Purple Cats are good. Sure. I'm a Ben Jacobson guy. Louisville, South Florida definitely has my attention. I think Brian Hodgson's really good.
Which feels like such an unattractive game. Like
it's a former Big East game.
It is, but I'm not sure if there is a person in Lincoln, Nebraska, that's sitting there ahead of the Louisville, South Florida game, and besides you, that's going, I cannot wait to watch.
Okay, I'm not quite that bad, but I think it's at least intriguing.
Okay,
relative to that region. Moving along, Clemson, Iowa might be first to 55 wins that game. I'm with you on VCU, North Carolina. Do I give Fran McCaffrey a shot to knock off Brad Underwood? I probably don't. Kentucky, Santa Clara intrigues me. Santa Clara has been really good. Kentucky seems like they've put it together a little bit more. I know a lot of people are going to take Akron over Texas Tech because of the JT Toppin injury and the Christian Anderson thing. I'm less intrigued by that one. Georgia St. Louis in the 8-9 to face Michigan.
Yeah.
That might be first to 100.
I do love St. Louis. They were able to lock up their coach for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, things like that are really interesting and can give, hopefully, a team like St. Louis a little bit of a jolt going into the bracket.
And then that South region, or West region, sorry, with Arizona, Wisconsin, High Point.
Yeah.
Really intriguing. Arkansas, Hawaii. We'll see. I think Arkansas probably wins that one, but Hawaii has a unique brand of defense. I could see BYU, North Carolina State going off the rails if the Wolfpack can win. But probably the most intriguing first-round game for me, non-Nebraska, non-Duke division, is Miami against Missouri in St. Louis. What Jay Lucas did in 1 year, turning around that program with the transfer portal, John Lucas' son down the way, Kentucky assistant poached by Duke, got a head coaching job at Miami. Canes didn't see Duke in an ACC scheduling quirk this year, but 10th seeded Miami, 10th seeded Missouri, who I came away not very impressed with throughout the course of the year, getting essentially a home game in St. Louis against a deep, talented, tough Miami team. I think that has the chance to be a barn burner, kind of like the Missouri Drake game was just last year.
Let me ask you this one question before we go to break. Does Miami, Ohio make it past SMU in the first 4?
I would probably pick the Redhawks, whether or not BJ Edwards plays. I know I am more in on Miami of Ohio than most people. Yes. I know they ended up the second ranked.
They lost to the Minutemen.
They did lose to UMass, and they were well behind Akron when you look at the statistics and everything. But I'm not that sold on SMU, having seen them a couple times. And I think Miami of Ohio is going to feel disrespected from being not the last team in the field, but having it even be a conversation. So I could see the Redhawks, shooting 40% from 3 and winning probably by upper single digits. But I don't know.
That game is tomorrow night.
It is.
I'm trying to find the specific time on it here in just a moment. But
either way, we'll have it on our airwaves. So.
Either way, we will have it on our airwaves. We'll be having plenty of NCAA tournament action coming on the 93.7 The Ticket airwaves. But once again, we want you there. Buffalo Wings Ring, 68th and 0 in Lincoln for our March Madness party. As always, Thursday and Friday, we'll be broadcasting live from 11 to 6 p.m. And on Thursday, make sure you show up early. And when I say early, I mean early for ping pong ball, as the first 64 get to draw a ping pong ball. You must be present to earn a ping pong ball. All right, let's step aside. When we come back, we will wrap up the show and get you ready for the 11 o'clock hour here on 93.7 The Ticket.
At CHI Health Clinic, we believe healthcare should be personal, because knowing your provider personally makes appointments more comfortable, more productive, and more meaningful to your overall health. Get matched with a primary care provider based on your personality and lifestyle using CHI Health Clinic's My Provider Match. Take the survey at myprovidermatch.com to find the right provider for you. Getting healthier starts by getting personal at CHI Health Clinic.
Looking for a financial partner that truly makes a difference? Modern Woodmen is a member-owned fraternal financial services organization. We can help you plan for all stages of life, from protection to saving to retirement. We also offer member benefits, social activities, and volunteer opportunities to help your family and community.
I'm Sean Erickson, your Modern Woodmen representative in Lincoln. Call me at 402-483-6515 to start the conversation.
Modern Woodmen of America, touching lives, securing futures.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs, from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at gainatrucking.com.
Nutrition Authority presents Fusion 30, an ultra premium protein ideal for anyone wanting to look, feel, and perform their best. Fusion 30 can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Stop in today for a free sample, visit with a certified nutritionist, and get better than internet pricing. For store info, visit mynutritionauthority.com.
Spring is the time of new beginnings and trying new things. If you haven't tried Führer's cheese spread yet, the time is now. For parties for St. Patrick's Day and Easter, or celebrating the NCAA tournament with friends, there's no better dip to bring everyone together and celebrate something from Nebraska. Get to your local grocery store today and load up on Führer's cheese spread. No event or party is complete without it on your table.
Rick Heyman here from Sauter Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. You can count on Sauter Heyman for the very best quality, value, and customer service. When it comes to your jewelry needs, visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at sauterheyman.com, and thank you for your continued trust after all these years.
In a world where Wi-Fi battles rage and bandwidth is never enough, one family dares to connect it all. Work from home, influence all day, stream all night, and game to win. Deadlines, downloads, and dance-offs, all happening under one roof, flawlessly. Can your internet provider do that? Fiber fuel your household at allofiber.com/all-in.
Forget the lame excuse this year. Your boss already knows why you can't make it to work for those 2 magical days in mid-March. Join 93.7 The Ticket on Thursday and Friday, March 19th and 20th at Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and 0 for March Mayhem. Come early on Thursday to get a ping pong ball with a lucky team on it, and stay all day for prizes throughout and buzzer beater upsets. It's March Mayhem with 93.7 The Ticket for the NCAA tournament at Buffalo Wings and Rings on 68th and 0.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake. Bauer Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know that the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, a matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with plenty of room for advancement.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. Now back to The Drive with Aaron Davis and Nick Sainert on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back into The Drive, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Appreciate you guys the entire show. Text line's been great the entire program here as we talk Nebraska-Troy. We talk NCAA tournament. And there's plenty to come over the course of the week. Also, we'll have plenty of boots on the ground at the National Nebraska, the NCAA tournament for wrestling, as DP will be making his way to that, as Nebraska's got a couple of wrestlers representing the Huskers on that stage. Austin, Jake, and the rest of the guys will be down in Oklahoma City for that game. We'll be having stuff here in Lincoln for those that choose to stay back. And so we're excited for the busy week ahead that we've got here on 93.7 The Ticket and on our airwaves and hanging out with you guys at Buffalo Wings and Rings, 68th and O in Lincoln on Thursday and on Friday. One of the things we didn't get to today yet, and I want to talk about it tomorrow, is if you are one of the seeds, or excuse me, the sports betting type, if you will, people getting freaked out and continue to acknowledge that Nebraska is a 13.5 point favorite over the Troy Trojans, and how there's quote unquote experts that are talking about how historically this is the largest gap that we've seen between 2, 3, 4, and 5 seeds and their respective matchups of 12, 13, 14, 15 seeds. In terms of spreads and who's favored. I think remember what we saw last year, a lot of the bracket was there wasn't a ton of upsets last year. However, part of the conversation is in this new age of college basketball, specifically, Austin, maybe the first round games aren't as competitive, or we don't see as much drama in the round of 64 matchups, but the round of 32 and on are just some spectacular basketball.
The thing that the sentiment, I should say, that I've gotten from people on social media and in conversations is that we like upsets sprinkled in throughout the first round, but by the time you get to that second weekend, you kind of want to see the heavy favorites, right? Yeah. You want to see the big brand names, right? And that's not to say there's not ever room for a UMBC or a St. Peter's or a Loyola Chicago or a George Mason or what have you. But I think back to the 2022 Final Four, where it's Duke, Carolina, Kansas, Villanova.
Bingo.
That's an incredible Final Four. You know, it's hard to have a bad Final Four, but you think about last year, who was our biggest Cinderella? I mean, was it Arkansas taking down Kansas and St. John's? Is that what we're considering a Cinderella, right? Like, is even Ole Miss in the college football playoff a Cinderella?
Well, because don't forget, I mean, the Final Four last year featured the 4 number one
seeds.
I mean, the 4 number ones in Duke, Houston, Auburn, and Florida.
Well, and I think we got mostly 1, 2, and 1, 3 in the Elite Eight to even get to that point.
Yeah, you're right. So the Elite Eight was number 1 Duke against number 2 Bama, number 1 Auburn against number 2 Michigan State, number 1 Houston against number 2 Tennessee, and number 1 Florida versus number 3 Texas Tech. The upsets in the first round last year, let's just go through these real quickly here before we get out of here. In last year. I'm just scanning each side of the bracket. Number 9 Baylor beat number 8 Mississippi State.
Hardly counts.
Hardly counts there. There was no other upset in that east side of the bracket. In the south side of the bracket, Creighton beat Louisville as a 9-8. Doesn't count there. New Mexico beat Marquette as a 10-7. Down below in the west, Colorado State beat Memphis in a 12-5. Drake beat Missouri in 11-6. Arkansas beat Kansas, as you mentioned, in that 10-7. And then in the Midwest, it was McNeese over Clemson by 2, 12-5. Other than that, everybody's chalk.
So what, 5, maybe 6 upsets, depending on how you want to tabulate it?
Yeah. And that features, 2 of the 9-8s.
Yeah.
So you have that there. So who knows? I mean, that's just, it just goes to, like, people might get mad because the way that it's lands, it's cut out nowadays is it just might not be as much of a drama-filled first round, but also...
But doesn't that make the upsets more exciting?
It makes them more exciting, but also it makes the round of 32 and like the Sweet 16 when you got best on best. Like I remember last year, the McNeese game in the second round was not very... Yeah, it was McNeese and Purdue in the second round. And it was, you kind of had a feeling, and Purdue beat them by 14, right? Would you rather have that, or would you rather have, number 4 Arizona against number 5 Oregon and be a 4-point game, or BYU upsetting Wisconsin in the 6-3 matchup by 2, 91-89? But I do understand and resonate with the people that say, well, that's part of March Madness. That's why it's there. How about Oregon, though? They were a 5 seed last year.
Was it last year or 2 years ago? I think that they had Creighton on the ropes but couldn't close them out.
I believe it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago.
Yeah,
that's right.
2024.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they I'm trying to find them here real quick, just for conversation.
Because I think that game went to overtime, and who was that?
Yep. So it was double overtime.
That's right.
Oregon was an 11 seed. Oregon beat South Carolina, who was the 6th seed in the first round. Yep. Creighton demolished Akron in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
And then Oregon lost in double overtime by 13 to the Creighton Blue Jays. Creighton then lost
completely ran out of gas.
Yeah, Creighton then lost by 7 to Tennessee in the Sweet 16.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
Sweet.
Sweet
The
next round. Yeah.
So, all right, there it is. Great stuff as always. Austin, appreciate you as
Anytime.
always. When we come back tomorrow, I do want to get into the conversations about some open requests that have been made on what teams spent on basketball. I know you guys are going to talk about that this afternoon on Old School. So really good stuff there, but also talking about just the margin between what's the margin for error for Nebraska going into the game on Thursday against the Troy Trojans. So much to get into, so little time. When we come back, though, it'll be one-on-one with DP here on a Monday as the 11 o'clock hour rolls around. Austin Norman, Nick Sainer, we'll talk to you soon.
John just tried Runza's new Jammin' Bacon Cheeseburger with its sweet heat bacon jam, pepper jack cheese, bacon, and cream cheese.
Whoa, this burger's like totally...
What?
You know, boom, 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 boom.
Not sure I'm getting it.
It's totally jammin'?
Ah, I see. Well, don't jam with your mouth full. Try the Jammin' Bacon Cheeseburger. Because from the way we make it to the way it makes you feel, Runza makes it all better.
Husker fans, baseball is back in Lincoln, and it's time to get your tickets to Nebraska baseball. Catch great matchups all season long as the Huskers take on some of the top teams in the Big Ten, including Indiana, USC, and Iowa. Plus, don't miss midweek action against in-state rival Creighton and regional matchups with Kansas and Kansas State. Bring the whole family. General admission tickets start at just $10 or grab reserved seats for $15. Don't miss your chance to be part of the action this season. Get your tickets today by visiting huskers.com/tickets or by calling 1-800-8-BIG-RED. Forget the lame excuse this year. Your boss already knows why you can't make it to work for those 2 magical days in mid-March.